Ethan Walker didn't discover his wife's affair because she slipped. He discovered it because she had stopped respecting the possibility of consequences. That was the difference. Mistakes are messy. Disrespect is organized. And Vanessa Walker had become very organized. Their house in Kirkland, just east of Seattle, looked like the kind of place people complimented in a voice slightly softer than normal. Clean lines, neutral walls, floating shelves, carefully placed lighting Vanessa once described as intentional without trying too hard. The whole place felt staged for a life that photographed well. Vanessa liked beautiful things. Rare porcelain she found at estate sales and displayed but never used. Signed first editions she stacked by color instead of author. Bits of polished sea glass she collected every summer along the Oregon coast and arranged in shallow white bowls as if even nature had to be curated to belong in her home. She liked things with a story. Ethan just never realized he had become one of them. Reliable, useful, visually consistent. Something stable she assumed would remain exactly where she placed it while she looked for something newer. That newer thing, he would later learn, was named Tyler Grant. But before he knew the name, he already knew the pattern. Because betrayal rarely starts with passion. It starts with comparison. Then comes permission. Then logistics. The changes in Vanessa didn't arrive loudly enough to justify confrontation. That was what made them dangerous. They came as small updates to her behavior, the kind most people explain away because they don't want to look suspicious. A phone that was suddenly always face down. A new passcode after 9 years of not needing one. A sudden commitment to a boutique Pilates studio 25 minutes away when 3 perfectly good gyms were within 5. New perfume, new workout sets, new excuses that sounded pre-rehearsed by the time they reached him. And the biggest sign of all, emotional distance without conflict. Ethan trusted that sign more than any lipstick stain or text notification. Fighting still meant engagement. Fighting meant somebody cared enough to invest energy. Silence meant exit preparation. He noticed because noticing was what he did. He worked in corporate risk assessment for a regional logistics firm, the kind of job built on identifying inconsistencies before they became expensive. Most people ignored small anomalies until they formed a pattern. Ethan's career existed because patterns always formed first. Patterns told the truth. People mostly told versions. So he didn't confront her. Not yet. Smart men don't interrupt when reality is still making its case. They observe, they verify, they wait. Patience reveals more than accusations ever do. And reality was becoming harder to explain away by the week. Later dinners. Vague stories about coworkers he had somehow never met despite years of hearing their names. A brightness in her voice that returned only when she wasn't speaking to him. And sometimes that smile. Not a happy smile, not relief. A private smile. The kind people wear when someone else has started mattering more than the person in front of them. Ethan did not feel panic. He felt convergence. And convergence is very different from suspicion. Suspicion is emotional. Convergence is structural. Everything became clear on an ordinary Thursday in early October. 4:12 p.m. No thunderstorm. No cinematic warning sign. No argument waiting at home. Just a canceled client meeting, a light rain, and an earlier drive back across the bridge than usual. The house felt occupied, but quiet. That particular silence that tells you someone is there and somehow not with you. He walked upstairs intending to change his shirt before catching up on email. That was when he heard her voice. Low, intimate, coming from the master bathroom, not the voice she used with him. That voice had become efficient over the past year. This one was softer, younger somehow. "I can't keep doing this, Tyler," she whispered. Ethan stopped, not frozen, focused. "I know," she continued after a pause. "I know, it's just timing." Another pause. Then the sentence that ended the marriage. "I just need to figure out the logistics." Logistics, not guilt, not confusion, not regret, logistics. That word told him more than anything else could have. This wasn't an affair happening in chaos. This was a transition plan. Every late night, every vague excuse, every too careful change in tone suddenly aligned inside him all at once. His heart didn't race. His hands didn't shake. Something colder happened. His emotions powered down, like a system switching into analysis mode. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was a situation. And situations require decisions. Ethan walked quietly to the closet. reached for the black Travel Pro suitcase they normally used for weekend trips, and set it on the bed. Then he opened Vanessa's side of the dresser and began packing. Not angrily, not dramatically, methodically. Silk blouses folded flat, designer denim stacked evenly, cashmere sweaters rolled carefully, the expensive skincare she kept behind the mirrored cabinet, the perfume she'd started wearing on late work nights, the red dress she bought 3 months ago, the same month her behavior changed from suspicious to strategic. If she was planning departure logistics, he was willing to assist operational execution. That was the exact moment, though he did not know it yet, when the balance of the entire story shifted. Because Vanessa had prepared for confrontation, she had not prepared for composure. The toilet flushed. Footsteps approached. Ethan zipped the suitcase. Vanessa walked into the bedroom with her phone still in her hand, saw the bag on the bed, and stopped so abruptly it looked as if someone had pulled her backward by invisible wire. "You're home early," she said. Too fast, too bright, too controlled. Ethan looked at her the way an auditor looks at numbers that don't survive a second review. Calm, certain, finished. "I am." He lifted the suitcase and dropped it onto the bed between them. The sound landed hard, dense, final. Her eyes moved to it slowly, then back to him. He watched fear replace calculation. "What is that?" Ethan held her gaze. No anger, no shouting, just clarity. "You said you needed to leave." A pause. "I removed the delay." The color left her face. What are you talking about?" "I heard the conversation." Silence flooded the room. The kind of silence where reality stops asking permission and just arrives. Her mouth opened slightly, then closed again. The plan she thought was private was now sitting physically between them, zipped and ready. Exposed. Real. Immediate. "You were planning an exit," Ethan said quietly. "I just accelerated the timeline." For the first time since they met, Vanessa looked uncertain. Not guilty. Not sorry. Uncertain. Because Ethan wasn't reacting the way he was supposed to. He wasn't begging. He wasn't bargaining. He wasn't wounded enough to manipulate. He was done. And nothing destabilizes a person faster than calm certainty. Anger can be redirected. Pain can be negotiated. But clarity? Clarity ends things. She took one step back, still holding the phone like it might restore control if she pressed the right number. And in a way, that was the moment Ethan understood the ugliest truth of the whole marriage. Cheating doesn't always destroy relationships. Replacement does. The betrayal wasn't that she wanted someone else. It was that she had already started reorganizing her life with the assumption that he would continue funding the transition. Vanessa had made one critical mistake. She had confused loyalty with weakness, and she was about to learn the difference. 7 days passed after Ethan dropped the suitcase on the bed. 7 very quiet days. The kind of quiet that follows structural collapse. Vanessa had not apologized. Not once. Her first reaction hadn't been regret. It hadn't been fear. It hadn't even been denial. It had been entitlement. "You can't just throw me out," she said at last after nearly a minute of stunned silence that first evening. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "How did you know?" Not, "Can we talk?" Just, "You can't do this." Ethan almost smiled. Because people reveal their priorities most clearly when their plans fail. And Vanessa's priority was obviously not the marriage. It was position. "I'm not throwing you out," he said calmly. "I'm facilitating your decision." She blinked at him. "What does that even mean?" "You said you wanted to leave." A pause. "I'm removing the delay." That was the first moment she understood this wasn't a normal confrontation. There was no emotional fuel available, no guilt to exploit, no anger to redirect, no drama to reframe. Just process. People who depend on emotional confusion never know what to do with procedural calm. Vanessa switched tactics. Anger. Predictable. "This is my house too." Ethan reached into the inside pocket of his jacket, pulled out a folded document, and placed it gently on the bed beside the suitcase. "Actually," he said quietly, "it isn't." She stared at the paper but didn't touch it, as if contact would make it irreversible. "The prenup you said was unromantic," Ethan continued. "The one your attorney told you to sign." He could see the exact second she remembered. Conference room, legal pad, untouched coffee. The confidence of someone certain she would never need to think about contingency. "You wouldn't actually use that," she said. Not a question, a belief. "Vanessa," he said, "I already am." The blood left her face again. Then, as expected, she grabbed her phone. Of course she did. People like Vanessa always believe another person can restore leverage if they call quickly enough. Ethan didn't ask who she was calling. He already knew. He walked downstairs, filled the coffee machine, and let the house settle around him. Normal movements, normal rhythm. Nothing destabilizes chaos like someone acting completely normal. 23 minutes later, a white Audi pulled into the driveway. New. Leased, Ethan guessed. Tyler Grant stepped out. Early 30s, gym built, expensive haircut. The kind of confidence that comes from spending a long time mistaking momentum for character. He entered the house ready to perform. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he demanded. Ethan remained seated. Didn't rise, didn't raise his voice, didn't offer Tyler the fight he had clearly rehearsed in the car. He just looked at him. "You're Tyler." Not a question. Tyler hesitated, only for a second. But that second mattered. Confidence hates being anticipated. "I'm the man she's choosing," Tyler said. Ethan nodded once. "Then this simplifies things." That was not the reaction Tyler wanted. Vanessa had come downstairs now, positioning herself half a step behind him as if proximity could manufacture authority. "You can't control her like this," Tyler said. Ethan took a slow sip of coffee. "I'm not controlling anyone. I'm implementing her decision." That line landed harder than either of them expected. He saw it. Vanessa recovered first. "This is insane." "No," Ethan said. "It's efficient." Tyler puffed up slightly. "You need to let her get her things. She has essentials. Anything else can be requested by email." "What?" "Inventory creates clarity," Ethan said. "If she believes additional items belong to her, she can document them." Rachel Kim texted Ethan right then, one of the few mutual friends who always saw more than she said. "Heard some weird version of events already. Don't answer now. Just know not everyone is stupid." Ethan locked the screen and set the phone down. He didn't need the reassurance, but it told him something useful. Vanessa had already started the social version of the breakup. Tyler frowned. "You don't get to manage this like a business dispute." "Actually," Ethan said, "that is exactly how I'm going to manage it." He looked at Vanessa. "We can schedule a supervised retrieval." Her expression changed. "What do you mean, supervised?" "A neutral third party present prevents misunderstandings. If necessary, law enforcement can stand by." Silence. Total silence. The word police has a way of removing romance from foolish people. Tyler's posture shifted first. Vanessa's confidence cracked next. Because suddenly this wasn't rebellious or exciting. It was administrative, procedural, real. Vanessa's eyes filled. Not sadness, not even humiliation. Loss of control. People often mistake those for the same thing. "This isn't how normal people handle relationships," she said. Ethan nodded slightly. "Correct." A pause. "This stopped being a normal relationship when you started planning my replacement." Tyler looked at Vanessa then. First doubt. Small, but real. Good narratives collapse when they encounter accurate language. She grabbed the suitcase. Not elegantly, not triumphantly, just quickly. Like someone exiting a room she had expected to dominate and suddenly could not read. They left. The front door closed, and for the first time in months, the house felt honest. The email arrived the next morning. Ethan expected contact. He did not expect 4 pages. Demands disguised as indignation. Half the value of the house, spousal support, the car, compensation for emotional distress. And then, in the final paragraph, the detail that interested him most. She wanted reimbursement for half the security deposit on an apartment. Ethan leaned back. Because he already knew about the apartment. A $3,120 charge on the supplementary card 2 months earlier. He had seen it and said nothing. Information is more useful stored than spent. He read her message once, then forwarded it to Mark Sullivan, the attorney who drafted the prenup years ago and still sent Ethan bourbon recommendations every Christmas. Mark replied in under 9 minutes. "Keep everything, say little. You're in excellent shape." Ethan's response to Vanessa took 3 minutes. Subject line, Property clarification. Vanessa, per Section 4.2 of the prenuptial agreement, the residence remains separate property. Per Section 7.1, spousal support is waived in cases involving infidelity. Per Section 9.3, vehicle ownership remains with titled party. Regarding the apartment deposit, because the lease is solely in your name, that obligation remains yours. Any further requests for personal property should be submitted in itemized form. I wish you efficiency in your transition. Ethan. No insults, no emotional commentary, just structure. Because nothing infuriates entitled people more than professionalism. 3 hours later, she replied with one sentence. You planned this. Ethan looked at the screen for a long moment, then answered with the most honest sentence he had written in weeks. No, you just underestimated me. That was the first real power reversal. The moment Vanessa understood she had not been dealing with an oblivious husband. She had been living beside a man who noticed everything and had finally decided to stop absorbing the cost of it. What she still did not understand was worse. This was not the fallout. This was phase 1. What happened next wasn't dramatic. It was quieter than that, and more dangerous. 3 days after Vanessa left, Ethan received the first message from someone who should not have been involved. Melissa Carter, a mutual friend. The kind of message people send when they've already heard one version of the story and are trying to confirm it without admitting they already leaned toward it. Hey, I heard things got pretty bad. Vanessa sounds really shaken. Just wanted to check if you're okay. Ethan read it once, then again. Not because of what it said, because of what it suggested. This wasn't concern. This was reconnaissance. Vanessa had moved the conflict into the social layer. That mattered. Because relationships do not fully end when people separate. They end when the narrative settles. Ethan typed back, I'm fine. If you want the full timeline, I'm happy to share it. No defense, no pleading, no counterattack, just availability. People trust calm transparency more than emotional rebuttals. That same night came the next move. Unknown number, voicemail, male voice, Tyler. Trying to sound controlled and failing at it. You think you can ruin her life like this? You don't get to cut her off financially and then play calm. Ethan saved the message. He did not respond. Emotion evaporates. Evidence remains. The next day, Vanessa's supplementary card was declined at lunch. He knew because the account alert hit his phone first. 2 minutes later, my card declined. Fix it. Not can we talk? Not we need to sort this out. Just instruction. Ethan replied, it wasn't an error. That was enough. Silence after that, which told him more than anger would have. People who feel wronged argue. People who feel exposed regroup. The longer email came the following morning. 4 paragraphs. Words like cruel, financial control. After everything I did for you. He read it once and created a folder on his desktop. Vanessa, documentation inside went. Her emails, his replies, credit statements, screenshots, dates, voicemail transcript. Because he was no longer dealing with a breakup. He was dealing with positioning. And positioning is one with sequence. A few days later, the social shift became visible. Vanessa began posting vague, carefully written things online. No names, just themes. Courage, freedom, controlling relationships, finding your voice. It was textbook. Rachel Kim sent Ethan a screenshot and one line. She's trying to build sympathy before facts spread. He didn't respond publicly. People who defend themselves too early usually lose. People who stay calm make others curious. Curiosity is stronger than outrage because it waits for receipts. Then Daniel Reeves, another mutual friend, texted, heard some ugly stuff. Hope it's not true. Ethan replied with 3 attachments. Vanessa's demand email, his response, the apartment charge, then 1 sentence, full context, take care. Daniel never replied. Melissa never wrote again either. Because stories collapse when facts enter the room. Justice rarely arrives looking like revenge. Most of the time, it looks like timestamps. 2 weeks in, Ethan noticed the pattern clearly. Vanessa and Tyler weren't just moving on. They were managing perception, selective disclosures, private conversations, subtle reframing, cold husband, emotionally unavailable, financially controlling. She finally chose courage. Classic. It might have worked too if Ethan had reacted emotionally, but calm men are hard to convert into villains. Then Tyler made the first real mistake. Ethan reviewed the exterior camera footage one evening, the system he installed months earlier after a stretch of package thefts in the neighborhood. That had been the official reason. Prepared people usually have other reasons too. He found what he expected. Tyler entering the house during work hours, using a key Vanessa must have copied. Walking straight across the entryway with wet dirt on his sneakers and dragging mud over the Persian rug Ethan's grandmother left him. Ethan paused the video, zoomed in, saved the frame. The next morning he called a specialist cleaning service. $480 quote. He filed small claims the same day. No warning, no argument, just process. Consequences rarely arrive as dramatic speeches. They arrive as obligations. 3 days later, Vanessa's mother called. Margaret Hale, voice shaky, tone accusing. How can you be this cold after everything she's been through? Ethan let her speak, didn't interrupt, then asked softly, what exactly has she been through? Silence. So he answered for her. An apartment I didn't know about, a credit balance I paid, a boyfriend who used a family heirloom as a doormat. Long pause. Then, she says she loves him. Ethan answered honestly. I'm glad she found what she wanted. More silence. All I did was remove the obstacles. Another pause. They're free to build whatever life they want. They just have to pay for it themselves. The call ended there. No shouting, just reality. The official retrieval happened that Saturday. 2 officers present. Neutral observers. Tyler quieter now. Vanessa more brittle. They moved through the house pointing. That lamp is mine. The dining chairs. The hallway art. Ethan wrote everything down in a black notebook Mark Sullivan had once given him, with the joke that serious men should document serious nonsense in nice paper. No arguments, no raised voice, just facts. When she pointed at the dining table, purchase before the marriage. When she pointed at the television, joint purchase, depreciated value applies. When she pointed at decorative items, receipts available if needed. Every answer calm, neutral, final. And slowly the room changed. The officers stopped watching Ethan. They started watching Vanessa. Not because he won the argument, because he refused to participate in one. By the time they were done, her certainty had thinned noticeably. As they reached the door, Tyler muttered, "Don't worry, we'll get what's ours." One of the officers looked up immediately and wrote something down. Ethan said nothing. Later that night, he requested the report. Another timestamp, another document, another piece of a pattern forming. Their next move came fast. 3 nights later, at 9:47 p.m., the doorbell rang. 2 police officers stood outside, professional, neutral, slightly wary. "Sir, we received a request for a wellness check." Ethan felt a brief cold wave in his chest. Not fear, recognition. The escalation had entered a new phase. "I see," he said. "And what was the concern?" The caller stated you might be emotionally distressed and potentially a danger to yourself. There it was. If they could not control the financial outcome, they would try to contaminate the reputational one. Ethan stepped aside. "Please come in." No defensiveness, no irritation, just cooperation. "As you can see, I'm fine. I was reading." A hardcover book sat open by the chair. Water on the side table. Lamps warm. House calm. Normal life is persuasive. He let them look. Then he crossed to his desk and picked up a thin folder. "This isn't concern," he said. "It's retaliation. This may provide context." Inside, property retrieval report. Timeline notes, emails, voicemail transcript. The female officer read the last page of the report, stopped at Tyler's recorded comment, and handed it to her partner. Their posture changed, not dramatically, professionally. Recognition. They had seen weaponized instability before. When they left, one of them apologized for the intrusion. Ethan thanked them for their professionalism, then sat back down and added one more note to the file. Wellness check, documented. Because false pressure attempts often become evidence themselves, and campaigns like that rarely stop where people think they will. Vanessa still believed this was fallout. She still didn't understand. This was the beginning. The story did not end when the small claims judgment went in Ethan's favor. That part was almost easy. Tyler showed up loud, indignant, performing outrage the way mediocre men do when paperwork corners them. The rug was already old, he said. It was barely dirty. Ethan laid 3 items in front of the judge. Video still, timestamp visible, specialist affidavit, itemized estimate. No speeches, no performance, just sequence. The judge ruled in Ethan's favor in under 10 minutes. Tyler muttered all the way out of the courtroom. It took wage enforcement paperwork and another 8 weeks to recover the money, but eventually the payment came through. It had never been about $480. It had been about alignment, actions, consequences, structure. What took longer was everything that could not be measured on paper. 4 months passed, quietly, not all at once. Just enough time for noise to fade and patterns to sharpen. Distance does something interesting to truth. It does not change it, it clarifies it. Vanessa's version of events didn't collapse dramatically. It thinned. Conversation by conversation, room by room. People didn't confront her, they just stopped leaning toward her. Invitations slowed, replies took longer. Plans happened without her more often than before. No public shaming, no grand rejection. Just 1,000 small absences. That is how social reality corrects itself, when one version of a story requires constant maintenance and the other simply remains consistent. The financial pressure hit them first. Of course it did. The apartment that felt exciting in secrecy behaved very differently as a shared responsibility. Rent, utilities, late fees. Tyler was not built for structure. That became obvious faster than Vanessa had expected. People who feel magnetic inside an affair often feel very ordinary once the secrecy disappears and bills start showing up in both names. Arguments began, first in private, then less so. Rachel mentioned hearing them in the parking lot outside a cafe in Bellevue. Melissa, now noticeably cooler whenever Vanessa's name came up, casually mentioned that Tyler seemed different lately, which was polite language for less charming and more irritated. Ethan did not chase updates. Information finds you when it becomes consistent enough. The first real social correction happened at a grocery store on a Wednesday evening. Melissa Carter saw him in the produce aisle and hesitated before speaking. That hesitation told him everything. "I didn't know the full story before," she said. Ethan nodded once. No need to ask what changed. People always believe what best aligns with what they have already started noticing. "She said you controlled everything," Melissa added. "But that didn't really match anything I've ever seen." He gave a small shrug. He didn't need to defend a version of himself he had never tried to market. Perception had corrected itself. That was enough. A week later, Vanessa showed up at the house, unannounced, early evening, standing on the porch with the posture of someone not sure whether she still had the right to knock. Ethan opened the door, did not step aside, did not invite her in, just waited. That alone changed the dynamic. She noticed. People always notice when expected courtesies disappear. "I was nearby," she said. "Not true, but convenient." He nodded once. "And?" She looked past him into the house like she was searching for something physical that might still belong to her. "Can we talk?" "We can talk here." He didn't move. She disliked that immediately, because control often hides inside small expectations, and those expectations were no longer being met. "I didn't expect things to turn out like this," she said. Same line, different tone, less confidence, more uncertainty. "It turned out exactly the way your decisions led it," Ethan replied. Calm, flat, final. She exhaled slowly, like she had rehearsed another version of the conversation and realized it would not survive contact with him. Things with Tyler aren't simple. There it was. Not apology, not accountability, context, justification, repositioning. Ethan said nothing. People reveal much more when they are not interrupted. "I thought it would be different," she continued. "I thought he was different." He nodded slightly, not in agreement, in recognition, because that sentence was not new, only delayed. "You didn't choose different," he said. "You chose temporary." That landed harder than cruelty would have. She looked at him for a moment like she was trying to understand a person she had lived with and never really studied. "You've changed." "No," Ethan said. "I just stopped ignoring things." Silence stretched. Not tense, just empty. Because there was nothing left connecting them except history. And history has very little leverage when current access is gone. "I don't think you ever really fought for us," she said. Last attempt, reframing the past. "I did," Ethan said. just not in a way you recognized. That required honesty to answer, so she let it pass. "I don't know what I expected coming here," she admitted. That was the first genuinely honest sentence he had heard from her in months. "I do," he said. She looked at him. "You expected access. You don't have it anymore." That ended it. Not harsh, not theatrical, just true. She stood there a moment longer, nodded once, and turned away. No breakdown, no scene. Because even Vanessa understood by then that there was nothing left to influence. The door closed quietly, and this time it did not feel like loss. It felt like confirmation. Later that month, David Ross, one of Tyler's friends, made the mistake of messaging Ethan from false concern. Maybe if you were less cold, none of this would have gotten ugly. Ethan looked at the message for a long moment, then forwarded David the court judgment, the retrieval report, and Vanessa's original property demand. No commentary, just documents. David replied only once. Didn't know all that. Of course he didn't. The loudest people rarely know the most. By the time winter settled in, the story had changed shape completely. Not publicly, socially, quietly. That was enough. Because closure is rarely dramatic. It's cumulative. It arrives the moment someone tries to come back and finds nothing left in you that responds. And Ethan was very close to that point now. Closer than Vanessa understood. Closer than even he did. The shift did not happen all at once. It never does. People did not accuse Vanessa. They did not hold interventions or make speeches or formally choose Ethan in some grand moral performance. They just became unavailable. Dinner invitations stopped. Group chats grew quieter around her. Calls went to voicemail a little longer than before. Not enough to announce itself immediately. More than enough to register over time. Because people rarely choose sides out loud. They choose them quietly, based on what remains consistent and what doesn't. They had seen Ethan's calm, his documentation, his refusal to escalate, and they had seen Vanessa's version of events stretch, contract, shift, and reframe itself depending on the audience. They did not need a verdict. They made their choice in 1,000 small evasions, and that is usually louder than confrontation. The final piece arrived from somewhere Ethan had not expected. Late afternoon. Unknown number. Professional tone. "Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Daniel Harris. I'm the landlord for Vanessa Walker's current apartment." Ethan already knew where the call was going. He let the man continue anyway. "There's been a situation. They broke the lease early. There's substantial unpaid rent and some damages. Your number was listed as a reference. Vanessa suggested you might be able to help resolve the balance." Of course she did. Even now. Still reaching for structure she had already lost access to. Ethan leaned back in his chair. Calm. Clear. "I understand why you're calling," he said. "But there's been a misunderstanding." Silence. Then the landlord said, "All right. Vanessa and I are no longer together. I am not financially connected to her in any capacity." Another pause. "I see," Ethan continued. "The apartment you're referring to was secured during an extramarital relationship that ended our marriage. The deposit was paid using a supplementary card in her name, which has since been revoked. Any obligation tied to that lease belongs solely to her and her partner." Silence again. Longer this time. Then a slow exhale. "That clarifies everything," the landlord said. "I appreciate your directness." "I wish you luck recovering your losses," Ethan said. And he meant it. Because consequences do not need assistance. They only need time. The landlord pursued them. Completely. As he should have. Ethan did not track the details, but details returned to him anyway through the quiet, informal ecosystem of mutual acquaintances and social drift. Savings drained. Payment plans. More arguments. More instability. Pressure that followed them home and remained after the conversation ended. Because relationships built in secrecy rarely survive exposure. And relationships built on escape almost never survive responsibility. That was the part nobody glamorizes. Affairs feel intoxicating while they are being hidden. Then, reality starts billing them. Ethan saw Vanessa one last time completely by accident. A bookstore in downtown Seattle on a rainy Saturday. She stood near the back with a book open in her hands, though he could tell she wasn't actually reading it. He recognized her immediately. But something had changed. The confidence she used to wear so naturally was gone. Not dramatically shattered. Just absent. She looked up and saw him. For a moment, neither of them moved. No anger, no performance, no attempt at conversation, just recognition. And something beyond it. Distance, real distance. Not physical, final. Her expression shifted slightly. Not guilty. Not exactly regretful either. Something closer to awareness. Then she looked away, turned, and walked in the opposite direction. No words, because there was nothing left to say. Ethan stood there for a moment with a hardcover history book in one hand and noticed what was not there. No anger, no resentment, no curiosity, no need for explanation. She was not unfinished. She was not unresolved. She was complete. Like a book he had already read, understood, and closed. The house felt different now. Not empty. Settled. He had donated most of what she left behind. Kept only what belonged there. The Persian rug had been restored so well that a stranger would never know anything had happened to it unless they knew exactly where to look. That seemed right. Because damage had passed through the house, it had not defined it. The revenge, if anyone wanted to call it that, was never loud. Never cinematic. It was not a single act. It was a process. Slow, consistent, unavoidable. Ethan did not ruin their lives. He did not need to. He just stepped out of the way and let their choices continue without his protection. That was enough. More than enough. Because the truth is simple. People do not usually destroy their lives in one spectacular decision. They do it in a series of smaller ones they keep labeling temporary until consequences make permanence unavoidable. Ethan did not feel victorious. There was no victory in any of this, just clarity. And clarity does not feel powerful. It feels quiet, stable, final. That was the real outcome. Not revenge, not justice, alignment. The day he stopped trying to save what was already leaving him was the day his life started becoming his again. That was what Vanessa never understood. She thought she was choosing excitement over stability. What she actually chose was instability without shelter. And Ethan had not lost a marriage that day in the bedroom. He had lost a version of reality that had already stopped being true. Once he saw that clearly, there was nothing left to repair. Only something new to build. Something quieter. Something cleaner. Something that did not require him to ignore himself in order to keep it alive. Because the strongest peace is not the one you fight to perform. It is the one that remains after chaos no longer has access to you. And for the first time in a very long time, that was exactly what remained.